Hey guys, just wanted to give everybody a bit of a heads up. We had a small issue with the microphones for about 8 or 9 minutes in this episode, but then we resolved it. So just bear with us, and it gets fixed pretty quick. Thanks, guys. Hey everybody, how's it going? It is the Fantasy Rugby Yanks. My name's Jared Dyke.
I'm Ben Glauser.
It's a fun week 2 even. Good God, we just keep having so much fun with this World Cup. Hope everybody's having fun with it.
Oh, I'm having a blast right now.
I bet you are. Yeah, well, it sounds like you had too much of a blast this weekend.
I was at a wedding down in New York City, and we reminded ourselves that we're not as young as we used to be. We're in our 30s. We're nearly 40.
You're nearly 40.
Yeah. Well, these are my friends. My friends are all about the same.
Fair enough.
And we were like, all right, let's pace ourselves, and you can pace yourself for a little bit, but over the course of like 5-6 hours,
it's hard.
It adds up.
Yes, that it definitely does. That it definitely does.
So yeah, waking up tomorrow and getting out the door of the hotel and working my way back up.
Driving.
To Boston. No.
Driving with a hangover is the worst thing.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know. Flying's bad. It's a tough one too between those two things. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I will not be nearly as emphatic when it's time to do the thing that I think we're about to do.
Yeah. Well, we don't have to be that emphatic. It's okay. We can take it easy. We really drink once. I like we pound back 5 sitting here.
True.
We're not goody. I think I swear to God, that guy probably puts the 6-pack down during a pod. I'm just like, I would expect nothing less. All right. Speaking of, let's break in. Guys, please keep the downloads coming. You guys are doing awesome. We love you guys for doing what you're doing. Subscribe to us. Yeah, I mean, hey, we'll take the downloads either way. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. Send us a review. We'll give the email and our Twitter at the end of the show and all that good stuff.
And ask us questions. Seriously,
yeah,
we're available on Twitter.
Right.
If especially with the way these weeks are.
Yeah, it's tough to.
Are playing out. It's midweek. We're not rearranging our lives to pod for each game week of the rugby.
Well, we would have had to rearrange that for the middle of the night this past week.
Exactly. So if you have any questions midweek or leading into next week's, the next game weeks, please don't hesitate to shout us out and see what we have to say.
Right. And we will be welcoming. Tomorrow's October. Guess what that means? 18 more days, and we're playing some Premiership Rugby again.
Oh, that'll be fun. Although, it would be interesting, especially without the World Cup players.
Right.
But at the same time, it'll be nice to.
There'll be some players that'll be really miffed about being left home, so they're going to be motivated. That's for sure. Yeah, I feel bad for anybody that's in the likes of their way.
Gloucester. Go Gloucester heavy right now.
Oh God, yeah. There's so many players. Like the only guys they're missing are some of the South African guys and the Italian guys. That's it. And nobody on the English plane.
Right.
Willie Hines. That's it.
Willie Hines. They can do all right without Pellegrini.
Yeah. They have Simpson for a scrum half, so they'll be fine. Exactly. They'll be just fine. Yeah. We'll talk more extensively about it next week probably. We will be doing both FRD and the Rugby Mag leagues this year. I did discover something fun on FRD this morning, just kind of hunting around. So they've given 2 options to either do a hooker and a prop as a position, or to do the front row like we've done before.
Oh, I like that.
So there's 2 options there. So that's at least good variety to have. I like the variety is the spices of life.
It is, and we'll have to have our internal conversations about which way we want to go on that.
Yeah, we can figure that one out for sure. But we will do our own league, and if anybody's interested in joining, tweet at us, email us. We'll welcome you on board as always. Are you continuing to enjoy this little upgrade of ours?
Definitely.
It is
so nice.
Yeah, I can't imagine trying to put this stuff together like as piece by piece as we've had to over the weeks without this upgrade, because I'd lose my mind.
Right. The Premiership is one thing. They kind of all put their lineups out at the same time.
Once, yeah.
It's all on Twitter. It's all very easily accessible. Whereas it's not really the way it's working out in
the World Cup.
In the World Cup, and you have to go find each nation's accounts and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
It's much nicer to be able to see the lineups. Like we're looking, I can look over here and hey, I can see the New Zealand versus Canada lineup. So I know that my recent signing of George Bridge means jack shit for this game. And that's
Oops.
okay. I'll be all right. That is a long-term investment anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Rugby World Cup Twitter feed does do a decent job of getting as many lineups into their, into their graphics as possible. But
then they also fuck around and did like a superhero lineup.
I know, so it's like hard to catch it all. It's like, damn it, no.
Right.
They also put the Grinch in that superhero lineup. I was just like, okay, you messed that one up. Sorry.
Last time I checked, Thanos was not.
He's not a superhero.
He's a villain.
Yes. What is wrong with you people?
Right.
Come on, man. Who's in charge of that account? Let's talk. So in a couple weeks' time, we here in the U.S. have a long weekend, and we'll be doing a live broadcast via YouTube and Twitter, and it'll be with a friend of ours that's played on the international level. I'm not gonna. Those of you that know us probably know who it is. If you don't know who it is, if you don't know us that well, you probably have no idea who the hell we're talking about, and that's okay. We're gonna watch a match live, and basically you're just gonna sit there and be entertained by how stupid we are.
Right. If you're a fan of rugby and you're a fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000,
this might be a good one for you.
This might be a good one.
Yeah, so it'll be good. I'll try and get 2 feeds up. One more the Talking Heads rear view, and then the one where you actually have to look at our ugly mugs. Yeah, that'll be a hideous one, but somebody's got to want to at least see our terrible facial expressions. Yeah.
And we'll let you know which game we're going to be watching.
Yes.
It won't be live.
No. We will be live. The match won't be live. We'll probably actually. There's a good chance that we know the result of it, but it is what it is. We'll still be making our comments on it and get an international player's view of it, which will be pretty cool. So yeah, that'll happen in a few weeks' time, and that'll be a lot of fun. Not a lot of news and notes. Anything that you've picked up on your end other than like bans and stuff like that, which we can talk about as we go through the games.
We'll get through it, but I'm very happy that the U.S. took my advice.
Yeah.
That I gave midweek. So,
Yeah. Yes.
We'll get to that.
Okay, so we both have a few apologies to make, and I will.
Apologize for nothing.
I'll make mine first. Ladies first. So I'll go. Because I'll cop to many a screw up in the last couple of weeks. Actually, I feel really ashamed because I pride myself in not being this bad, but my goodness, I was bad. Clearly, I was under the influence. Tolu Latu does not play for the Brumbies. He plays for the Waratahs. I knew this, but I still said Brumbies because I was thinking Falafanga like an idiot.
Oh my god! I can't believe you made that mistake, Jack.
Yeah, and you definitely made that mistake too. So shut up. It's. I said Ken PC. It's 2CPC that's on the team. I screwed that one up. Mr. Himeno's first name is not Koisuke, it's Kazuki, and I messed that. I read. I swear to God, I read. And I actually knew how to pronounce that name, but my brain just didn't want to put the word together. That's all. Couldn't help myself. I screwed the Alatello brothers. And I flipped them. They're twins. I couldn't help it, man.
Well, these are people that we're not normally talking about.
No.
So it's forgivable at times.
Yeah.
And even though we do Super Rugby, but at the same time, it's kind of a different scale.
It's definitely a different scale. And then, so apparently Will Hooley is no longer employed by Northampton Saints. He actually is owned outright by Bedford Blues now. So I did not know that. So somebody in the Premiership buy Will Hooley, please. Yeah. so we can root for him again in the Premiership. So yeah. And then I doubted the Japanese, and I apologize for that. And I will take my foot and insert.
So yeah, you have nothing to apologize for there. It's you're not alone in picking again Ireland, and pretty much everybody and their mother picked them. The only reason I picked them because I thought they had a chance, and I was clear about that. They have a chance with their style of play. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just my disdain for Ireland, but it is the way Ireland plays. They're vulnerable to anybody who decides to not get into their game. Mm-hmm. That's the trick that Ireland have. They're almost like hypnotists, where they get you that you want to play crash ball rugby. You want to play crash ball rugby. And fucking Scotland fell into that trap.
Which was a poor decision on their part in all likelihood,
Right.
obviously.
And a lot of teams fall into that trap. And I saw a commentator say that wonder if this is really the end of multi-phase rugby. And I read that. It was a tweet. I don't remember who it was. And I just was, what a knob. Because both teams played multi-phase rugby.
Yeah.
Japan held the ball for forever.
Oh God.
They ran multi-phases, but they didn't run. It's what it's the death of is crash ball rugby. And it's the one pass, maybe two away from the breakdown. And that's the end of the movement.
Right.
And Ireland made one, I would say, rugby attack where I think they went through the forwards, it went out to the back. Like there was like a three or four passes, and I was shocked. And it did really well. It was it was late in the game, and they maybe got like 20, 30 meters off of it. And then they just went away from it again. So, and we'll get back into it. I'm sorry, I'm taking up the time, but no. Right. Japan knew, they played their game. They didn't get sucked in, and they won. So that's why.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not every team can. It's not just as simple as that, and you win against Ireland. So don't get me wrong. It's not simple. You have to be able to execute, and you have to have good talent.
By far.
And Japan did that. So now, what do I have to apologize for?
So your apology should be to Mr. Tig Furlong and to Mr. Keane Healy for calling them dirty players, because these are two. Not only are these two props that you appreciate, as you and I both appreciate as players that play in the front row. You've spoken glowingly of before.
I have,
and
so
ignore where they're from.
Right.
But also, let's also put this into this basket. You pound the drum for one of the biggest hotheads in rugby. And that's, I don't know if it's a little bit hypocritical, whatever the word is. You don't have much of a leg to stand on to be throwing that type of mud. So I think you owe them just a tiny bit of an apology.
I will absolutely apologize to them. It was not an intent of mine to say that they were dirty players.
I think you were just a little.
I was saying I was calling it a dirty play. That's what I meant to say. How I meant this to come out is more that it's not that it's a dirty play. It's that the style of play lends itself to putting yourself in a situation where you have to do that. And it's not that I don't think it's a player that's intent. I don't think it was something that they wanted that they wanted to happen. It's more of a function of the style of play of Ireland. It gets people hurt, whether it's intentional or not. And I think most of the time it's not intentional, but it's just that style, that crash ball and play the tough defense. And as I said, using the ruck as an attacking, as an offensive weapon rather than just a way to maintain your own ball. And that's kind of the way Ireland play. And it's yes, absolutely. I apologize to those two players. That's not exactly what I meant. I meant that it's really the style of play that pisses me off, because we've seen them when they play for their clubs. They don't really do that kind of stuff. Right. So it really is. It's the more the Irish coaching than anything else that I disagree with.
Fair enough. As long as we can cop to our issues, it's okay. So yeah, air's cleared. We're all done now. Not with the pun.
It's not that clear, sir. What did you have for dinner?
Chili? Yeah. All right. So, to the games. Let's go. Let's get to that. First up. Where'd my notes go? I have them right in front of me, don't I? This is bad. Russia-Samoa was something that was played basically before we could even post the pod. I mean, actually, it aired shortly after I posted the pod, but I don't know how many people actually listened to the pod before we got to it. But yeah, not the prettiest game in the world. Mm-mm. Russia kept bottling it at the end every time. Like, they looked like they were getting in, and they'd find a way to screw up the last pass. Samoa ended up, just kind of outclassing them because they obviously have players that are playing in either France or Super Rugby or the Premiership, and it was very clear that they had more professionals than these guys did.
Yeah.
And, so that comes out in the end. It's just how it is. So good on Samoa for putting them to the sword, and as they should have. Again, I think Russia put their best performance in against Japan probably. So.
Yeah, that's Russia is really, I think they shot their wad.
Yep.
And now you're going to start seeing them
kind of show their true colors a
yeah,
little bit.
a little bit.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, nothing to be held against them. It's they got thrown into the situation they got thrown into.
Right.
So yeah. Quick fantasy note. I mean, we're gonna come back to him anyway in a minute here. Anyway, Alapate Leua, big one, big try at the end that. I started him in this one, and it propelled me to a big score to start the week off.
Yeah,
I was like, yes, that was huge. I could not be more excited about the way that worked out, because I threw him in there and Vui last minute, and I ended up getting like 25 from Vui and like 55 from Leua. It was ridiculous. I was like, for last minute changes, tinkering.
Yeah,
that worked out quite well. Yeah, and that was the big one from that game, if I remember right. Anybody else that really scored big for Samoa that day? I don't think so. Kane LaPepe for the lock from Hurricanes also scored well. So both locks scored pretty well. Leua ended up with 64. Ooh, thank you. A couple guys lucky to probably escape with not red cards in this one. Thank you, Roman Plot.
Oh, yeah. He's going to let them kind of go a little bit.
Yeah.
But
obviously. It kind of set the tone for the rest of the week, though.
Right.
Although
I will say this one thing before we move on, that I've noticed the trend of French referees not getting big games in this.
Thankfully.
Not
with
getting
the exception of Garces and the All Blacks, but that didn't end up being that big a game.
Right. And, who had Australia Wales? Was that Plot? No.
It was. Why am I having a hard time with this right now? Yeah, that might have been Plot actually. Yeah, it was. So that was a big one.
Right.
And I actually found myself agreeing with him a lot, and we'll get into it when we get.
You shut your mouth.
But then, well, trust me, I ate my words afterwards.
Right.
After a while, I was like, I shouldn't have said that. So yeah, it was But anyway, Samoa take care of Russia in their first match, and they get a bonus point out of it. So good on them. Fiji and Uruguay. Oh my. To the Uruguayans, well done, boys. Well done to our fellow American qualifiers. Yes,
seriously, that was
boys.
An incredible performance on their part.
Yeah, and I texted with a friend, and when we saw this, he said, "Yeah, Fiji should have smashed them." I'm like, "You're right. They should have absolutely smashed them." One, their kicking game was off. I think they hit 1 out of 7, and some of those you should be able to hit drunk. So that did not bode well once that started to happen. I was like, I don't get a good feeling from this.
Well, it was also that for the first 30 minutes of the match, it was back and forth. One team would score either I don't remember if it was tries or penalty kicks exactly, but they were scoring, and then they'd go and they'd score. The other team would kick off, get it down deep in the other team's end, and then they'd get the ball back and score. And so then it would just seesawed back and forth like that. Like people would use their restart as a way. Okay, well, we'll just get back into the game. And then Fiji. It was like right around that point, like 25, 30 minutes, where Uruguay took the lead, the 21-12 lead. And
it was amazing.
It was seesawing back and forth like that until Uruguay scored 2 straight somehow.
Yep.
And then that
Diana and Kat got 2 within about 3 or 4 minutes of each other.
One thing to note, which was fascinating, you were talking about the missed kicks. Mertens was the color announcer, and I
love Andrew Mertens.
Love color announcers who provide actual insight into the game.
Amazing, right?
Fascinating. And he was saying that and he's obviously a fantastic kicker in his own right.
Legendary.
You're right.
That'd be a word I might use there.
Now, he's talking about the balls, these World Cup balls, and he said it's fascinating to see they don't veer much. Like a lot of these players, they use that draw or the fade or the hook to, on their kick. They'll try to put a little bit of English on it to get it to do what they want it to do. And he says it's not doing that very well. So the kicks are just going dead straight, and so the players are having trouble responding. I saw a couple that they're curving a little bit, but certainly not as much as the kicker wants them to. And in some cases, they put a little bit too much. They kind of overcompensate, or they maybe if they get it just wrong, it's going who the hell knows where. And so it's fascinating to see the insight and that it proved true. He was talking about this happening right before Fiji missed a kick.
Yeah, well, and I mean, in contrast, that Perkese missed 1, and I think he had about 6 or 7 himself, and he played an outstanding game. as well. One Manuel Cat probably had no business being on the field by the end of the game. He looked pretty broken. He did eventually get subbed off at halftime, but no, because they reversed that, didn't they? Yeah, he didn't get subbed off till about 60 minutes in or so. But yeah, yikes. He looked pretty broken, but he gave it all. The Uruguayans just threw it all into that, and I give them all the credit in the world. They caught the Fijians napping for sure. I think the Fijians definitely put a team out that they probably shouldn't have.
Right. Well, I think the Fijians were a little. Yeah, they certainly played down, and I have a feeling that they're kind of. Even going into that match, they might be a little bit questioning themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think once Uruguay really started showing that they weren't going to back down, Fiji didn't respond well. No. They kind of said, "Oh, I'm not really ready for a fight," and kind of turtled.
No, so we talked about...
They fought back, but still, it was a little too late.
A little too late. If they had hit like 2 or 3 kicks, this game would have been completely different. Something that came through that we talked about with the U.S., but also kind of can't forget about this. Uruguay have a lot of professional players now because they all play in the MLR. A lot of them do, at least. And good on them. I mean, this is clearly something like that.
So why doesn't that translate to the American team?
Well, they also played a much stiffer competition.
Right.
Yeah, and that was not a good game. We'll talk about that in a little bit here. For the Uruguayans, Percasi had 35 that game. One of their second rows. Lindekar had 32. Their scrum half put in 2 good performances actually this past week. Arata played really well. Mm-hmm. So we'll talk about that when we get to fantasy stuff. But yeah, pretty good on him. The Fijians, Voka was somebody we spoke highly about. Obviously, Nakarawa turned in a decent day. Matawalu got 2 tries, so that obviously balloons his numbers. Both locks end up with decent days. I mean, they had some good fantasy scores because they were carrying the ball well.
Right.
They weren't finishing well, and obviously their kicks were going the wrong way. I mean, you can look at Ben Volvola and Matavesi, and both of their scores are pretty hideous. Mm-hmm. So that's where the problem lies, right there, right there. So good on Uruguayans. They get their first big win in the World Cup. I know they've had wins before, but this is obviously a huge one for them. So good on the Uruguayans, and welcome to the club of the team of beating the team in the top 15. Yeah. Really good stuff. Okay, and then what the hell did I just do? There we go. Make a note here. Okay. And then we had Italy and Canada, and this was not the same type of result, unfortunately.
No, this was a walk.
Yeah, Italy. I mean, wow. Italy, I don't know if they were angry or they just were not leaving any doubt or whatever it was, but...
Or there's another option.
Canadians didn't play very well either.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Canadians didn't play very well.
Let's go there.
Yeah. No, they seemed to be a mess. They couldn't finish a try to save their life.
No,
they had probably 3 or 4 easy opportunities to get over the line, and they just botch them.
Yeah, they're not terrible. They're just not finishing. Like,
nope.
Vandermeer had some great runs, and really opened up space, and then maybe throw an offload that went at a touch or went behind a player, and it wasn't maybe his fault. Maybe the player wasn't in position. They weren't communicating well.
Probably a little bit of both on many options.
And I'm not just I'm just naming him because I remember him making several amazing runs.
He had some good ones,
and he's easy to spot with the bleach blonde.
Yes, he is. Extremely easy to spot.
So it's easy to see when it's him that's involved in a play that doesn't go well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was one, I think it was Heaton, that was looking to get the offload for the finish, and he completely botched it, and I don't remember who the hell broke the line, maybe Ardron. But yeah, nobody could finish for the Canadians. Finally, somebody, who was it? Coe that got over in the corner there. Yeah. So Canadians just seem to be allergic to the try line. Sears Juru got his 50th cap, so good on him. Big old prop from Canada. Real quick on this note, then we'll move on. move on to the fantasy aspects really quickly on that one as well. Did the Canadians possibly make a slight error in tying themselves to MLR in the United States with only one Canadian team? They kind of have two with Seattle,
Right.
but in not like trying to at least forge their own 8-team league, 6-team league of some sort.
Well,
It's
they
a
support it,
conversation
though?
to ask them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would much rather see expansion into Canada than continued expansion in the U.S. With the MLR, because we have enough. There's enough teams in the U.S. We can't support that many, and we can help support the MLR in Canada. That could be an easy partnership.
Yeah, that's something
because
possible.
it's good for both of our countries. So I would like to see something where instead of having, at this point, we have enough teams in the U.S., and I know you're going to want one in D.C., you're going to want one in New York.
There's one in D.C.
Right, but I'm saying that you
okay.
have to have that.
Yeah.
Like the first...
There's teams that you need.
Right. You can only have so many,
support. Utahs
and
stuff like that,
and Texans and stuff like that. You have to, if the money's not exactly there. So they're going to have to expand into the large markets of the big cities. But at the same time, there would be many more players that would be available for a competitive squad if there was more incorporation of Canada into it.
Right. So maybe get a West Coast team either in Edmonton or in Vancouver, something like that.
Yep.
That might not be.
Vancouver-Seattle rivalry. Could you imagine that?
That'd be kind of fun.
That would be a lot of fun.
That'd be kind of fun. All right. So here you go, Canada. We solved your problem.
There you go.
For the Italians, man of the match, Jake Pelledri. He says, "Give me a goddamn starting shirt, would you?"
Seriously, what has he got to do?
He was, he didn't get over the line, but man, he set up pretty much everything good that the Italians did.
Right. So 45 points without scoring a single try. That
says a lot.
That's a lot.
Dean Budd and Stain both get over. Dean Budd, the big old Kiwi-born lock. I think he's Kiwi-born. A lot of forwards had a day. Negri,
Stain,
Pelledri, Budd. There was some good scores. Braley ended up having a decent day.
Yep.
He was a menace. So good on the Italians for being able to put out a somewhat changed squad and still being able to put up a nice number. So good on them at least.
Yep.
They could have easily got caught napping just like the Fijians did.
They could have.
So good on them. Italy beat the pants off Canada 48-7. Speaking of the pants getting beat off you, oh boy, this was not a fun watch.
It was embarrassing.
England and USA.
Just embarrassing. I had missed it. But we were watching together, and my wife stops, hits pause. She's like, "Wait, go back and listen to what that referee just said," because this was late in the game, and so it was right after a scrum that went down, another scrum that went down, and he's like, "All right, boys. We can clearly see that there's a class difference here." And he turns to England and he's like, "You guys need to come up a little bit in the scrum." And he turns to the US and he's like, "You guys need to come down a little bit." Yeah. Like England was so far below.
Their height was just ridiculous.
Right. And that's fucking embarrassing. I hate to
Feathers.
Right. That wasn't intentional. That's just the way it's just what it is. It's fucking embarrassing. But worse than that was the I'd say friend of the pod, but it's not really true. Former teammate of the pod.
Yeah. John
Quill and his whatever the fuck that was.
No arm shoulder charge on Jordan Farrell's face.
Right. Late.
Yeah. All on that topic too. Yeah.
So I had to, and I'm not one. And if those of you who follow me on Twitter, thank you. But you'll note I try to stay away from the hot takes. I have a filter.
Yeah,
that helps me with that sometimes.
It stops. It's like, wait. Nope, don't send that. Okay, good.
Sometimes I'll run something by Jared and be like, don't do that. Don't do a hot take. I'm like, okay, I want to avoid the hot take, but I had to tweet.
Sometimes you can't stop yourself,
and just say,
and sometimes it's not wrong either.
Right. I was like, send him the fuck home. It doesn't matter what the sanctions are. Send Quill home. He needs to not play for the U.S. anymore. This is what he does. He gets carded too often, as it is.
Yeah, he has been carded quite a bit in his career. Not just U.S., but MLR as well.
Yeah, he's pretty much a constant in the bin, if not sent off. And at some point, what's the talent that he gives that you can't find somebody who maybe they're not as fast or as experienced, but you know what they don't do? They don't get sent the fuck off every goddamn game. So yeah, Quilly pisses me off. He always has, and
that pretty much was the icing on the cake.
right. So I sent that tweet, and then like I think it was the next morning, it had already happened. So I was pretty pleased with myself that I was able to make myself known.
The gods saw it and said, "Let's do it."
Right. I'm sure it was my tweet that sent that changed the decision. But no,
people asked about the length. I'm like, listen, he's not playing again until March anyway, so chill out. Okay, I understand your point in terms of the length, and it was a pretty bad one. It wasn't a medium; it was probably a higher end sanction. But 3 weeks pretty much takes care of any USA players Rugby World Cup. So
right, and I think that was probably the deal where Gary Gold went to them and said, "I'm sending him home. Like no matter what happens, he's not going to play again in this World Cup." And they're like, "All right,
3 weeks.
Then 3 weeks.
Done.
We'll move on."
On the other side. I don't like him, but man, he racked up a shitload of points. 72. Ellis Genge, that little scamper that he had. And if you haven't seen this, I think Rugby Pass put out a pretty funny video that was like getting out of work or something like that.
Shit.
Oh, I couldn't help but I felt bad because it's obviously our boys, but man, I couldn't help but laugh watching it. And I don't like Ellis Genge that much either, so that's how funny it was. Though
I saw one with that they did the "My Heart Will Go On."
Yeah, they always do that.
Yeah, little things like that. It was great.
So England just knocked the crap out of the U.S. A big old 45-7, and people will wonder why Owen Farrell was in. Thankfully, nothing big came of it except a small chunk of his nose got a little.
Well, that was already done. That was before Quilly got a hold of him.
So no big deal there.
Yeah.
Luckily,
but I love
as Eddie said. Luckily, he's not going out looking for ladies because he's married and got a boy. So
I did like when Farrell got up and was chirping at Quilly. I can only imagine what he was saying, and my interpretation of it, I can't read lips, but I'm pretty sure what Farrell was saying was something along the lines of "fuck you. If you were any good, you'd be wearing the green at this tournament." So,
buzzing. Yeah, that happens. England smacked the crap out of the U.S. and hopefully the U.S. will wake up. I will say the one thing I was very pleased with in terms of the U.S. Gary Gold has a high standard for this team and expects big things from them. Mm-hmm. And I think Blaine Scully put a nicer touch on it, but Gary Gold was very outright in saying that was terrible. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy about that he expects better from this team. So hopefully that happens this week. The RGs and the Tongans. Tongans, again, not really getting a whole lot of help with the
scheduling
with the schedule. Yeah.
And the pool. Yeah.
Yeah. This is not. This is another rough game for them. I mean, Talisa Vaianu looked great. The Leicester fullback. But yeah, other than that, it was pretty much all. It was all Argentina all day. I don't know if it speaks higher of Urge Paleta or if it speaks lower of Nicolas Sanchez that he played in this game, but good on him. I mean, Creevy didn't start, so I think this was a semi-changed squad at the very least. Montoya gets a hat trick. The backup hooker who starts in this one. Good on him. The RGs didn't do anything super spectacular in this game. They just set piece the shit out of the Tongans, which is a pretty easy way to beat them usually. Right. So that's just how it goes. I love Tamifuna just for his personality and the way he looks, but I don't know what more good he's going to continue to do the Tongans as a starter because he only makes it to like 50 minutes tops, and he is gassed. I mean, if you can haul your fat ass around, great, but not really in that case.
Yeah, it's a little high level competition to have that lack of fitness. Right.
I thought Faiva looked pretty good in more last place. But Siali Pilatau just did his best, his captainly best as best he could, but only so much you can do. Like I said, Argentina just outclassed them. There wasn't anything special in it, but they clearly showed that they had the talent to beat these guys, and they did. Argentina put the Tongans down 28-12, and they are still alive in their pool, thankfully for them. And we went pretty quick through that one just to get to this one, Japan and Ireland. Oh my goodness, what a day it was. And I can tell you that, despite the fact that I did pick Ireland, I was very excited to watch this match and have it unfold as it did.
It was a beautiful match to watch. So. And I was yelling at my screen for most of the match for a lot of different reasons.
Where are you going?
A lot of kick to the corner, kick to the corner. why are you kicking for points? Kick to the corner. And it worked, so I can't really. That.
Yeah,
I mean,
was.
If you can't tell, I'm a little bit more aggressive when it comes to at times for a game like this when you're a team like Japan. I was kind of hoping that they would be a little bit more aggressive again, and that instead of kicking for points, especially when Ireland scored some quick tries.
Yep.
I was like, you gotta get back into the match, but no, Japan knew what they were doing. They were going to be calm and patient, and
yeah, they weren't going to lose their shit. Tomorrow had a better game from the tee, but still not his best.
He missed the first, and I think that was his only miss.
Yeah, and it was a pretty bad miss if I remember right. Pretty sure he shanked the hell out of it.
That reminded me of the Mertens commentary about that.
Yep, good call. Big performances from the Japanese front row, one through 18. Really,
right.
Just well done.
Except for 16, because he never came up.
That's true. That's right. I didn't even think about that. That's true. Freaking loosehead Inagaki played on the whole time. But
no. Hori, the hooker.
Oh, the hooker. Right.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were gonna try and bring him off, and he's like,
no, fuck you. I'm staying for this.
Good on him. Got to give the Korean-born Kujiwon a lot of props. He was doing his best to just make every tackle, and didn't gain a lot of meters, but he only played 53 minutes. But shit, he
47 points.
He played his ass off.
Yeah, they went toe to toe with that Ireland scrum, and it was like taking a picture. Those scrums were not moving an inch.
Nope, very stalemated. Those were a pair of really good scrums, obviously. Yeah, and they weren't. It's not like they were outweighed by any means. I felt a little bit bad for Amanaki Mafi. Came off with a rib injury. I bet you that might be a broken rib.
Yeah. He's definitely. He was like pulling at his side, like trying to pull it back into place.
I think it's broken.
Right.
Which sucks. Luckily, you have a guy like Mike Leach on the bench.
Yeah, that was my note exactly. Was it kind of sucks me seeing Mafi leave in distress, but Leach will do all right.
Yeah, Leach did well. Leach is a hell of a replacement to call on. Yeah, and I will note this. Couple things on Ireland. One, I did think their attack was a little more creative. Certainly, Jack Carty did some things that Johnny Sexton hasn't been willing to do.
Right.
I thought Carty was the better of the two fly halves that took place. Joey Carberry looks very rusty and very much like, I don't know if this leg's going to hold up type of thing.
Yeah.
Not his fault, really.
No.
It's tough. It really is tough to do this when you don't have a warm-up game to get ready. The Ringrose try was actually really nice, though. The first kick.
That Japanese defender.
Caught napping.
I think it was no. I think it was
was it Lemeki or was it Matsushima?
Hold on. No, it wasn't. I think it was the 13. I think it was Lafayette.
Okay.
So he had to come over and cover because I think the wing got sucked in. So it was the outside center out there, and it just that's not what he normally does. So I don't think he got caught napping as much as he was trying to backfill a position and got turned around.
So somebody else got caught napping and he's the one that gets hung up to dry, which is worse.
Right.
But yeah, I thought there were guys that put in some pretty good shifts for Ireland. Carney played his balls off. He was probably chomping at the bit after missing the first one. Mm-hmm. But again, the two guys that I pointed out on Twitter, Thompson and Hori, just put in massive shifts. Thompson's not a young man.
No.
And he put his body on the line.
And him coming off the field.
He's just like kill me now.
If you've played rugby, you've had a match like that where you're just like, I can't, why is the sideline getting further away? I know I'm coming off, but I just can't make it. It's like a nightmare. Like, oh no.
Oh yeah.
You can see him kind of half jog and be like, nope, can't do that.
Oh man, that's bad.
I also want to point out who had a great day, especially off the bench, was Fukuoka.
Yeah.
With what did he have? He had. I'm going back to my notes here. Did he score? Yeah, he scored there. He scored the
winner.
The winner, and he had the sealing interception.
Oh yes.
So
very good stuff.
Way to come off the bench and make a double impact that really seals the game.
Yep. So Japan now in the driver's seat of Group A.
One other note on the match that because it's another tactical thing. If you can't tell what I like to talk about too.
Yeah, right.
Japan fucked themselves twice on this stupid. I hate it. I like it in spots. When people pick their spots into it, it's great. But when they get that stupid, oh, I got tackled, I'm going to stand up and pick the ball up again.
Yeah.
They did it once where I think they knocked it on, and another time where they earned themselves a penalty because it was already a ruck. And the player got up and tried to play with it. And it's like, just
don't do that.
Just take the tackle. You're working your phases. Everything's going well. You've been tackled. Let someone else have a turn with the ball, especially when it's in tight. Like if you like are tackled and you have to do that just to maintain possession, that's one thing. But when your support's there and the scrum half's there and you're ready to keep running, just let it go.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of give the final, this is how tight it was. 51% possession to Japan, 52% territory to Ireland. That's how tight this match was. So good on Japan for coming through in a tight one like that and taking control of their group, and well into a possibility of getting a knockout. Game.
I think they just won the pool. It'll be between them and
Scotland. Well, it could be a 3-horse race if Scotland beat them.
Yeah, and if Ireland can't afford to shit the bed again, and I don't think they have too much of an issue there, but they're on the verge of
Samoa and Russia.
I don't think either of them. You never know, but yeah. But the Ireland are not in a good spot.
They're going to be Japanese fans basically for that Scottish game.
Yep.
Okay, and then we won't dwell on this match too much. South Africa and Namibia have lost the worst in this exact fixture pretty much. World Cup game. Pool stage, playing South Africa. They got 80 points put on them 8 years ago, I think it was. And it was bad. It was really bad. I watched that match, and I was like, why am I watching this? Right. I almost did the same with this one, but I give the Namibians a little credit. They were trying shit, but like it's just clear they don't have the class. They're not even close. They really aren't. Khaleesi comes in with 35 off the bench, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Your boy Mac Mapimpi comes through as well.
Captained him this week, too.
That was a smart move. Skulk Brits plays 8-man and does
52
pretty good damage. Lou Diaga, good to see Lou Diaga. Let me just point that out. Good to see Lou Diaga back. He got hurt in the Super Rugby season, and he definitely did something to his shoulder. They did the jersey pin sling thing when it happened to him. So I'm glad he's back. But this is a South African team that were probably a little angry after losing to the All Blacks, and Namibia were just the whipping boy, unfortunately. South Africa 57, Namibia 3. More or less start your guys against Namibia if they're one of the top end teams. That's basically what needs to come away from this one. Pretty much. Sorry, Namibia. Georgia and Uruguay. Georgia did everything that Fiji couldn't, because here's the thing that Fiji is not great at, and they've been better in recent days. They went toe to toe with Australia in it, and that was their set piece. But the driving line out maul, Georgia knows how to do it very well. Their set piece they know how to do well, and Uruguay had no idea how to deal with it.
Yeah,
they really didn't. This was nothing spectacular that they did. Again, it was. I know that Uruguay got a red card, but that was almost at the end of the game anyway, so that's almost irrelevant. It was a hot, nasty day. A lot of this is a water break day. Literally, it was a day they called for water breaks. Okay. It was one of those types of days. So, the couple guys I want to point out are Apersidza, the young scrum half for Georgia, accurate with his kicks, lively around the ruck, really making problems for everybody around. So good on him. Very, very good stuff. And then the two wings were pretty good as well. Todua and I'm going to try and not butcher this. And Zaladze. Very good stuff. Very good stuff from both of them. And they're man of the match. Girogadze. If you're going to keep Mamuka Gagadze away from that 8-man spot, you're doing something right. So good on them. They did. Uruguay did have some good stuff. Villaseca, like I said, Arata played well again. So if you need a scrum half and you're in a pinch, I think Uruguay are on the bye this game week that we're in right now. But game week 4, if you have Ben Youngs or you have Gareth Davies, I think they're on buys next. Maybe reconsider what you have in terms of that and pick him up, because this guy's playing pretty well. He's scored 30 plus each time. So there you go. Take that for what it's worth. And then we had Game week 3 start overnight.
right.
It was like, really? We were going to do this? Okay, we're going to do this. It was a good match just the same, though. Wales, Australia. Phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal effort by Australia to come back, but I give Wales all the credit in the world. They lost Dan Bigger fairly early in this one, who looked like he was about to have himself a game the way he started. And Reece Patchell just said, no problem, just gonna pick up where you left off here, boss. No big deal. He didn't seem to miss a beat. Man, I have to say there's good things about Australia that need to be pointed out, and there's some bad things. Will Genia has had an intercept try and almost had another one. And I'm not saying that he got them. He gave them.
Yeah,
because he took too many steps away from the ruck and tried to feed the pass. And Gareth Davies read both. Got one, just missed a second. I was like, maybe don't do that anymore.
Maybe.
Just a thought. Our theory, specifically yours that started with it at least, of Dane Haylett-Petty being probably the better fullback comes true. He looked pretty damn good. I will say that. Karevi played his balls off, although we've talked about it, this fend-off penalty that he got against Hadley Parks or Reece Patchell, whoever it was. Bullshit. Total bullshit.
I didn't see it.
Ben Skeen needs to shut his friggin' face and let it go, because it was just a little fend-off. Patchell was already coming in high.
Right. I saw the image of it. I didn't see the
it's just
video.
a little bump off. That's all it was. He didn't do anything. Yeah, it rode up a little bit. It happens, But the guy was already high to begin with, so that's his own damn fault.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want to get bumped off like that, go for Karevi's legs. Karevi was a little miffed by it. I definitely understand why. If he's feeling salty about it, he should be. That was a terrible penalty call.
Was there a card associated with that, or was it just penalty?
No, it's penalty only.
Oh, well, then that didn't.
It was still an annoying penalty to turn over, because I think Wales got something from it either.
Okay. They
got 3 and then they turned around and got 7 later on.
Okay.
Shortly after that, so it was a bit of a ouch in terms of momentum. Marika Korobetti continues to not impress me. He has problems with not being able to kick. He's a great attacking weapon. He is not something I want back there fielding kicks. Because he doesn't know how to deal with them. The Grey Wolf, Adam Ashley Cooper, gets over the line. That was Bernard Foley's only good moment of the game.
Yikes.
I'm not going to lie. It's a good thing Michael Checa always said Eddie Jones. Sorry, Wallaby fans. And actually, they hate him more than anybody. So that's definitely an insult. It's a good thing Michael Checa brought Matt Tamua.
Yes.
I would probably be starting him, because Lele Fano didn't cover himself in glory last game, and Bernard Foley still looks like poop.
Because he's Bernard Foley.
Yeah. So Matt Tamua should probably be your starting 10. I mean, they left another guy at home.
Right. So that was my question to you, because I hadn't seen it. So I had one question, and now that I look at the lineups and really get into it, I have a second question. First question. How much of a difference? Now, let's look at their locks. I mean, Rada did all right. Arnold got 30, but how much of a difference would a certain lock who was maybe not living in Australia currently, but would make an impact on the game? How much of an impact would...
Big Willie Skelton is
Big Willie style.
He would definitely be a big help to this. I mean, Rada seemed to try and make himself a menace, but he's not doing anything special. Rory Arnold's going to win lineouts. That's what he does. But I think Will Skelton would be another dimension to that second row. And, if you wanted to bump Isaac Rada to 6, you could.
Right.
I wouldn't move David Pocock and Michael Hooper right away, that's for sure.
No, but Pocock has experience at 8.
Yeah.
Significant experience at 8.
So they could bump Nicerani out of there if they did. Hooper's playing his balls off.
Doing
everything he can to get this team over the line. So
that leads to my second question.
Shoot.
Which is, because neither of us are terribly... Well, we're definitely not fans of Bernard Foley.
Nope.
I am not the biggest Will Genia fan. I don't know about you.
I have my goods and bads about him, but I think Nick White's probably the better option right now. Pardon me.
So I guess that's where my question goes. Is so we Skelton would have made a difference, but how much of a difference would have been made with Nick if they had started Nick White and Tamua rather than
Tamua definitely. I think you could get away with one or the other. I don't think you can start Bernard Foley either way.
Right.
Doesn't matter who's playing 9. I don't think that would work either way.
Which is odd because you're playing Wales. Why wouldn't you go? I mean, is there do these international coaches have blind spots at times? You think?
100%.
Like
They have soft spots for certain people.
Yeah.
And they're just, that's my boy, and I'm backing them, and da-da-da, and, whatever. It feels like they feel like they owe him somehow, and
Right.
they just, and I can get that to a certain point. It's a soft skill, but yeah, I don't know, beats the shit out of me.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, either way, Australia fall to Wales, and it was a damn good match. They made a hell of a comeback attempt, but it was just too little, too late. 29-25 Wales in the Wales final, take control of that group. And then the one this morning that was not particularly entertaining, but certainly did some good for the Scots. They got 4 tries. Sean Maitland got over the line.
Yeah, that was a beautiful try.
Beautiful kick. Stuart Hogg with a massive drop goal from almost halfway on the angle too. I was like, damn, that's a hit. That'll be good to know that you have that in the locker at some point. So it was a hell of a hit. Finn Russell did very well for himself, just making plays. He really was.
James Ritchie, at least I only got to see the first half, but he was obviously we at Fantasy Rugby Yanks are sad about Hamish Watson not being out, but James Ritchie and having Blade Thompson in reserve, they still have some mobility back there, so it's not the end of the world. And Johnny Gray put in an excellent shift.
Tackling beast, man of the match, big time. The Samoans eventually got a red card. Ed Fido got 2 yellow cards, gave up 2 penalty tries. The second one was probably not a penalty try, but it was definitely a yellow. The first one was clearly a penalty try, so not helping his team anywhere whatsoever in there. The Samoans did their best with no ball, but man, there's only so much you can do without it. Every time they'd try and break, they'd find a way to fucking cock it up. And I'm thinking, like, hang on to the damn ball, guys. Like, don't kick it away. Just eat the ball.
Right.
So yeah, definitely out again. Another one outclassed. We saw some Lago v Mulapula bum.
Yeah, there was significant bum this weekend. Actually,
had his shorts pulled down.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, I saw it in that game. I saw. Oh, there was some other. There was bum. There's been significant bum, which is great.
Tie those shorts, kids.
And fuck, would it kill you to wear some like spandex or some Under Armour under that?
Yeah,
like,
get yourself some compression shorts under there too, big guys. Yikes. Oh man. I will let you prepare your notes while I go through some top scores by position for the week. This is not overall. This is just this week. In week 2, so game week 2. So the 2 games we just did were game week 3. Game week 2, center Ed Fido leads the way. Obviously, very contrasting compared to a red card / 2 yellows. Talisa Vaianu, the fullback, led the fullbacks for Tonga with 34. George Ford, basically against no defense, for England, 54 at fly
as
half.
expected.
Stain from the Italian squad with 49, big time score. Schalk Brits leads the hookers technically, even though he played 8 this week, but he did slot in at hooker eventually. But did start at 8, but yeah, he led them. If you want to go by actual hookers, and Benamini was the other one next down. So Kazuki Himano, yes, I said it right. Leads the number 8s with 31 from Japan. Ellis Genge leads the props 72. Excuse me.
Well, yeah.
Nico Matualo puts a couple tries over and gets 45 against Uruguay. Lou Diaga leads the locks 53. Big week for them. And Alapate Leua was 64. But then 2 South African wingers, Mac Napimpi and Warwick Collins right behind him as well. Okay, so we're leading off this week with, thankfully we have a day between, so everybody can kind of rejig the lineup after the first 2 that just happened. France and the U.S. I went basically I tried to make it the most relevant possible. I'm looking at guys that have scored a lot and or are on pace for scoring a lot on average, and guys that are owned, and then just kind of give my best advice from there. So Camilo Lopez, start. Louis Picamol, yes. Louis Picamol should be an automatic start if he's in the lineup. Ituria, yes. Mastrano, yes. He'll be starting at scrum half for France. Huge, Guiton, Voca, all of them should start. Those are the back three, I believe, for them this weekend. I could be wrong. No, Rocco's one of them. Why do I have Voca on there? Oh wait, duh. This is what happens when I try and do the same notes on the same page as the ones I had before. Sorry, wrong one. Actually, yeah, I didn't put Voca in there because he's not owned. He's not selected. So
Yeah.
screw that. The two starting locks for France, I would sit. That's actually the one problem that England didn't really seem to have anything purchase whatsoever in there. So sit them. The U.S. AJ McGinty. If he's your starting fly, if he's your fly half, yeah, he got 28 last time, so it wasn't bad, despite only being able to make one kick. So that's pretty good for him. Savetta is a yes, and a cautious thumbs up for Bryce Campbell. I'm thinking he's going to play a little bit better at having to start this time instead of coming off the bench. So that's what I'm thinking with that. For the guys that are owned and or scored okay for the U.S., TT sit. Blaine Scully sit, Sean Davies sit.
I mean, if you're starting a U.S. player, good luck. I mean, Tough Eddie, that's to me, that's the only player worth looking into, just because again, it's the hooker.
Less than 1% owned,
right? And but he could go off at any second. But at the same time, yeah, I would hesitate to use him if you unless you absolutely have to.
Right.
And if you're like stuck, if you've filled up your squad with the big tier 1 country players,
right,
and you're kind of screwed for a hooker this week. Yeah, go with Tough Eddie. I think he's actually he's my reserve hooker, but I mean that's only because I don't really want to make another ad drop, and Horry isn't playing this game week, so
nope.
That pretty much narrows it down.
Yeah, right. You're up.
I am up with. I have New Zealand, Canada.
This should be a fairly straightforward exercise,
right? And this is again simple. If you're starting a Canadian, if you're thinking about starting a Canadian, don't just don't. So here's where I'm getting into now. You have to start thinking about the strategy behind this, because we're kind of running short on runway as far as the pool play. So a lot of these second tier countries, the players that certainly are not going to make it out of pool play, you're going to want to start moving away from them. So like I said, I have Taufetti. I might keep him around for another week or two, but it's kind of it's done. You only have the one switch a week or one drop, so you have to really be careful about who you pick up, who you're going to have to drop, because you pick somebody up, and if they don't go off, what if that could be 20 points you're giving up because you have to cut someone or cut him along with someone else. So now it's the time to get a little bit more, strategic about who you're adding to your team.
Indeed.
So my suggestions are going to come with that caveat.
Fair
for
enough.
New Zealand. Just based on what Canada has been giving up. They've been giving up a shit ton of points to the 13 in the back three. So in this case, Jack Goodhue. And he's someone you'd probably want to keep around. I mean,
yeah, he could easily start in one of those big games.
And so he might be someone you want on your team. As I said, I picked up Bridge just in case he was going to be one of the wings that was starting. He's not. It's Ioane and
just the same though.
Right, and Jordy Barrett and Bowden Barrett are the back three.
Three brothers starting.
Right. And Scott's playing up front.
Yep.
And I'm the other lock is Tuipulotu.
Tuipulotu.
Yeah.
Yep. Patrick Tuipulotu, the Blues lock.
I would not suggest that.
Probably not.
Even though he could have a good game, but again, that's another one who
it's a one-off.
He's a one-off. So don't bother with that. You might want Matt Todd, Kieran Reid, could have a good day. Richie Mwanga. So, the bigger names that are going to be playing. Now, you want the players who are going to keep playing, even if you think a guy might go off 1 week.
Right.
So those are my start. I really would focus on Goodhue. It really is my big one.
Yep.
And Ioane, and maybe not Jordy Barrett, because I don't know what he's going to be doing later.
Yeah, it's kind of a mystery. Depends on injuries and stuff like that. Fiji and Georgia. Fiji's are kind of automatic almost at this point. Obviously, we don't know the lineup right now, but Nakarawa's an auto start. Yato's an auto start. Radrador's probably an auto start for me. Moses Voca, there he is. Start him. I knew I had him in there somewhere. Nico Matawalu, if he's their scrum half, yep, go ahead. And Tui Silva, go ahead. The sits are going to be their 2 props, or at least the big props that you're probably either owned or are scoring. It's amazing that some of these guys are selected but not scoring very well. Campisi Mafu has not scored shit. Sit him. Maui has scored well, but I wouldn't play him in this game. Georgia props are probably going to cause them havoc, especially at scrum time. Ratino Wala and Ratuva, the two of the locks. Pine them. Don't touch them. For Georgia, Brigavadze, the hooker. There's 2 hookers, Brigavadze and Mamuka Shavili. Play them. Apersidze, which was the scrum half that I mentioned earlier. If you're in desperate need of a scrum half this week, you could do worse with him. He looked pretty lively, and Fijians give up plenty to scrum halves, so go ahead with that one. Labahidze I believe he's the 10. That's fine. And then no, that's not true. He's one of the wings. I would sit their 10 though. I'm just gonna call him Teto because I'm not gonna butcher the shit out of that name because that's a bad one. Sorry. To you,
Ireland, Russia. I'm going to start with Russia because there's really only one player that I would consider here, and that's Morozov, the hooker. I'm sorry, prop. Ireland
sell Sharks prop.
Ireland are giving up a lot of points to props this tournament.
Yeah,
and Morozov is scoring points. So there you go.
There you go.
I wouldn't recommend again. If you don't have him on your squad, I would not recommend picking him up for this.
Yeah.
But
this is if you have him.
Right. If you have him, go for it.
Yep.
As far as
Probably
Ireland,
a Sale Sharks fan or something like that.
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
As far as Ireland are concerned, they're probably only going to start. They can't afford to take Russia lightly. They can't afford to have a slip up now because if they slip and Russia decides that this is going to be their game of the tournament as opposed to the game against Japan, that Ireland can't afford it because then they're out.
Agreed.
Completely. So I'm thinking Ian Henderson is going to make the start, so I would go with him.
Probably a flanker, but yeah, that's even better.
And then Stockdale.
He's going to carve him up
because they're gonna need the wings have been carving up Russia, and again they're gonna have to start one of them. So I'm thinking it'll be Stockdale.
Yep.
With his speed, and I think he'll do well.
Nice. Yep. Good shots. South Africa, Italy. So this is probably going to be one of those games that South Africa doesn't take lightly. They need to win every game from here out to make the knockout stage for sure. So I would start Kobus or Herschel if they start this game. Do not start Faf.
No.
Done. Eben Netzebeth, Malcolm March for the forwards, definitively. Peter Steph Tutoy, definitively. Kolbe should be an automatic start. Andre Pollard, if he's your 10, he should be an automatic start. For the sits, surprisingly, Italy haven't. I mean, I know Italy have played some pretty weak ass competition, but they've really kept the props under wraps. And these are 2 guys that don't score a ton necessarily. Kitsoff and Mato Herrera, they're very highly owned, but don't play them. Like I said, Faf de Klerk, no. Willie LaRue, nope. Very highly owned, but just not producing. And Italians actually doing okay against the back 3. Italia, if Tommy Allen's your fly half, you're playing him.
Yep.
So play him. Abraham Stain, Jake Pledry should be automatics. If you have him, play him. Tommaso Benvenuti, the winger, play him. And then any of these guys that you have, just find a place on the bench for him. Tito Tabaldi, Andrea Lavati, Leandro. If Geraldini plays, I don't know if Geraldini's ready to play yet. He's still kind of nursing that knee a little bit. I think it's a knee. Either way, you're sitting him and you're sitting Parise.
England versus Argentina. You have your points machines for England. The Saracens connection with Jamie George and Maro Itoje should feature highly. Argentina are extremely vulnerable in the centers. They've given up points through the centers.
Which is too bad because Mateus Orlando I love. So it's like, what?
Yeah. So I'm looking at Tuilagi here to make an impact.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
That's who I see there. For Argentina, there's 3 players who, if you're full up on Argentinians, you probably have these 3 players, and that's Montoya, Matera, and Petty. I think those should all be on your rosters, or at least 2 of them should be on your rosters. I have Matera and Petty.
Right.
I'm not playing Matera. I think I put him as a reserve because in case he goes off, but you never know. But Petty is the one that I'm starting
for sure. Okay. Good. Yeah, I like him.
But I just don't. I'm just not certain how what the other players are going to be bringing from Argentina in a match like this, and how.
They have to win this.
Right.
They desperately have to win this. So they'll be going full noise.
Well, they will, but how I'm not sure how that's going to work out and how that'll work into fantasy points. So I think,
agree with that.
Yeah, so I think those 3, Petty especially, I think he'll get chances at the line out and around the park. So,
yep, agreed. Okay, so Australia, Uruguay. This is week 4. All right, Ben and I'll probably either tweet out something or I will publish a quick one with our week 4 start and sits of the week. Our starts of the sits of the week are going to be for what's left of game week 3 that we say here. So calm your hormones, okay? So week 4, Australia, Uruguay. You're gonna play Matt Tamua if he plays for sure. Nick White should play. You should play if he plays. If Kepu is one of your props, go ahead. If you for some reason have Jordan Ulysses, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Sorry, he's just not that prominent. If you for some reason have him, they're probably gonna play him in this game, and I bet you. And hookers do well for Australia in general, so go ahead. If you have him, you're obviously a huge fan of his. If you have him, but yeah, go ahead. Be cute. It'll pay off. I'm really hesitant to play either Foley or Lealiofano. Neither one of them's done well. And I'm not trying to shit on them, but they just haven't shown me.
This is business. This isn't. This is where you put your fan hat away and you do business.
Yeah, you use your brain. For the Uruguayans, there's only 2 guys I would go with: Villaseca and Arata. That's it. No, anybody else? If you have them in your team, chuck them.
Yeah, don't bother. Japan versus Samoa. I am all in on Hori, Matsushima, and Himeno.
Yeah, as you should be. Should be.
All 3 should be on your rosters. None of them can afford to take a match off at this point. They're playing. They're going to ride until they fall apart because they don't have any other choice. Yeah. So those guys should be playing and should be at least on your reserves, if not starters. For Samoa, I think Nanae Williams will get free and Vui should get some space. But again, I'm not sure I'm going to waste a spot on my roster for guys that I know I'm going to have to drop. So I think those 2 will have good games, but I'm not sure that it's worth picking them up for this match if you don't have them. If you have them, then strongly consider
Fair enough, yeah. Yeah, no, fair enough point. So on the back end of this weekend here, New Zealand, Namibia, short turnaround for the boys in black. The big names that I would definitely consider for this weekend, and there'll be guys that you see on rosters both this midweek game and this weekend probably. Ioane, Cody Taylor, Ben Smith, George Bridge, Sevu Reese, Sam Cane. If Sam Cane's ready to rock, go for it. If you're in a real nasty pinch and you need an all-black 10, Josh Ioane's probably going to play 10 in this game. He's performed well when he's been given the ball, so go for it. Namibia, Conrady's the only one that I would consider. After that, pine them all.
So then I have, where am I? France, Tonga. So this is probably going to be the game to clinch the quarterfinals for France, assuming England beats Argentina.
Right.
So France is going to rock up just to make sure they get it done.
Like, all right, let's get this job done now.
And based on that matchup, I think I would go with Fiku. He'll be featured, and as is Ntamak. So that 10-12 combination there.
I'm loving this kid.
Is really gonna be where you want to focus your rosters there.
Yeah.
And then for Tonga, Sam Luisi or Fifita, but again, is there value there for long term? I don't think so.
And at week 4, it's probably not worth it
right.
Unless you already have them.
Right.
That's the only thing. Like we said before,
they might be worth keeping for a week, but be ready to drop them at a moment's notice.
I do have a spare France spot, so if I can wriggle somebody away come game week 4, I think Ntamak's going to be my grab. My grab that week. See what happens. Okay, so start of the week for me. It's a pretty easy one. I didn't get cute with this. He's going to play fullback for the All Blacks, Bowden Barrett, against a very weak. Even if he plays a half, even if he plays a half, I would be willing to bet he's going to put up 35, 40 points easily, and that's without kicking.
Okay.
So that's he's going to have a big week. Unfortunately, sorry Canada, you didn't look good against Italy.
Right.
This is the All Blacks now. Just saying, okay. And he's fastest player on the field by far. Maybe Sever Reese can keep up. That's it.
My start of the week. So I mentioned I had Bridgie as a note because the lineup wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
So I'd still have and he wasn't my start of the week. He was just on my I was going to say Bridgie,
on the radar.
Bridgie and Colby were guys that should probably be starting for you now. Not Bridge, but one of the other back threes. So like maybe a Barrett.
Mm-hmm.
But my start of the week is going to be Maro Itoje.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
And the reason I'm saying that is that Argentina haven't handled attacking locks particularly well, and
Fair enough point.
they've gone off for runs and line breaks, and Morrow has been very much focusing on trying to be more of an attacking lock. We all know what he does in the line out and in the on defense, so you know he's going to get you points. But I think he's going to feature heavily in this match, and I think he's going to be my captain this week.
Yeah. Yep, that's a good shout. So my sit of the week actually comes from that game. And I know England haven't necessarily faced the stiffest competition, but their back three defense is going to be very good, and because of the way they attack that back three with the kicks and with looking to kick in behind, and if you can't handle your shit very well, then you're gonna get found out. And Emiliano Buffelli is my sit of the week. He's very highly selected in terms of, I was looking for somebody above 10%. He's 12% selected in TRM. So don't pick him. Don't pick him from this match. Put him on your bench. Make sure he stays there. I think he's just going to have a nightmare back there. I think Barrel / Ford, whoever the fuck it is going to pull him left and right and going to make his life miserable. I'm
going to give you a sit of the week that's going to make you poop. And
let me get a change of pants real quick.
Again, Pablo Matera, reserve at best. Somebody who I'd be looking to pull out of your starting lineup just in case. But my sit of the week is going to be a surprising one. It'll be Rory Best. And
yeah, it's not too bad of a call. I will say that
Russia is not giving up points to hookers.
It's amazing.
And because I think their lineout defense is pretty good. And Bestie's been kind of shit outside of scoring that try.
Yeah.
His lineout throws aren't...
He's had a tough time.
Yeah, and that's been noted. I just think that this is a bad matchup for him, and who knows how long he's going to play in the game anyway. So if you got Rory Best, this isn't this is just business, nothing personal. I love Rory, but
we love Bestie.
He's my sit of the week.
Yep. Good. Not a bad shout. When Cronin came into that game, I was like, your lineup's already not going great, and you brought Sean Cronin in. How fucked are you? Very. That's the answer, kids. Very. All right. Let's get into this. So pick 'em. Now, as much as I'd like to say that this will be a different result for us this week, France, U.S. Heart says U.S., brain says France.
I think it's going to be a different result in that France are going to win by a lot more.
Depends on which French team shows up.
It depends on what the U.S. does. And
I have a feeling Gary Gold put a rocket up their ass to at least play a little bit better. Kiwis in Canada, All Blacks.
Yeah.
Not really a question there. Georgia, Fiji. Here we go. This will be a little bit different at least.
I got Georgia.
Okay.
I think with, again, what you just talked about not too long ago about Georgia using their set piece to dominate. Was that right? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
That's what Ireland did to Fiji. They just said, we're gonna scrum you and maul you to death. Was it Ireland?
That was Australia.
It was Australia.
Yeah, and they did.
Sorry.
And they did.
That's what Georgia's gonna do to him.
I will back the angry flying Fijians to come back in this game, and it'll be the revenge of Ben Volavola for not having started that last game. Ireland, Russia.
Ireland.
Yeah, it'll be, even if they do it in their typical way, they can do it better than Russia. I promise you.
Because Russia. Well, see that Russia is the exact kind of team that's going to get sucked into that kind of play. So,
Whoops.
Yeah, they're gonna don't play Ireland's game. You will not beat. Nobody is better at Ireland's form of rugby than Ireland.
them, yeah.
So don't do it.
Yep. The Box and Azuri.
This is gonna be a serious match.
It'll be a good game.
South Africa's gonna win.
Yeah,
I think Italy's gonna put a little bit more of a scare in them than people would think.
I think they'll at least challenge them for half or so.
Yeah.
The RGs and the English.
English.
Yeah.
Again,
the Roses.
They're so the England is kind of like the anti-Ireland in that they can play any style they have to win a game.
Yeah.
And so it might be a struggle that first half as they feel each other out, but England's going to probe and find where Argentina's weak and exploit it in the second half.
Yeah, a strong scrummaging front row is going to probably do Argentina in on this one. To game week 4, Australia and Uruguay. I don't think there's a question in that one, honestly.
I think Uruguay is going to be out in the piss the rest of the tournament.
Let's go have some fun, boys.
Playing with house money.
Yeah, right. Japan, Samoa. I'll back the Brave Blossoms.
Yeah, you got to at this point.
Yeah, they're riding high. Hopefully Samoa doesn't catch
So here was an interesting
too much.
Comment on the from the other rugby pod, the amateurs that they do. And no team has ever lost a match in pool play and won the World Cup.
Yeah.
So, and I was just thinking about that because I'm like, Japan's going to run they could run that entire.
They could run the group.
Right.
Yeah. Easily.
And come out smelling like
a
rose.
Yeah. Good for them. All Blacks again against Namibia. Yeah. Again, it's not going to be a challenge, unfortunately. Sorry, Namibia. If they beat the Box and the Box hammered you by transitive properties, grab your ankles and breathe deep.
Yep.
Sorry.
You're going to feel a pinch.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that just happened. And there we go. Fuck. France, Tonga.
France.
Let's try and keep the wheels on for just a little bit longer, even if we got to keep them on with duct tape. Let's just do it. Yeah, I picked the French, too. Holy shit. I don't know why that's so funny, but it is. I'm sorry. I'm just terrible. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, so everybody, please subscribe to iTunes. That's how you get the update the fastest. You won't have to wait for my fat ass to post it on Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, shame on you. Kidding. I am J Dyke 8man, DYKE, number 8 MAN.
When was the last time you played 8-man, by the way?
Like 3 years after I got to Boston.
Okay.
Like, yeah. I played for a little while, and then I had 20 pounds, and that was the end. Really, that was it. I was like, oh, that's the end of my 8-man career.
I shouldn't talk. I have never been an admirable snack bar. So.
Well, that's you're admirable.
True, and I do like my snack bars.
Snack bar. Ben is admirable snack bar. Snack bar spelled very funny. Yeah, basically missing like half your freaking vowels in
just
your
two.
Twitter name.
Yeah, just a few.
Okay. Yeah, first couple vowels are missing for that. But that's all right. But so yeah, that's how you find Ben. FantasyRugbyPodcast@gmail.com. That's how you can get a hold of us for the pod if you have a question that you think you want us to talk about on here. But
I think it got cut off at the beginning. But seriously, if you because we are not rearranging our lives for the game weeks that Fantasy Rugby Mag has. Right. If you have questions leading into a game week that we won't answer before the game,
shoot them at us, man.
Yeah,
big time. Yeah, definitely do that. We'll talk about Prem next week. We're gonna be doing both leagues, so get your fingers ready to start clicking when we send that stuff out. If you want to be the first in on our FRD league, please email the podcast, and we'll make sure that you end up on it. Other than that, and then there might be a small hint of MLR fantasy coming.
Well,
and we could have a little. We might have an exclusive with that. I don't know. Maybe. Only maybe. We'll see.
A little teaser
So,
out there.
Could be fun. And other than that, yeah.
And the live
The live pod that'll be coming in a couple weeks. Keep your eyes peeled for notifications about that. We'll do it on YouTube. We'll do it on Twitter. It'll be a blast. But other than that, have yourself a good week. Good luck on your teams and rearranging all the shit that's going on right now. Other than that, everybody have a good day. Everyone.
Don't forget to wrap your arms in tackle.
Yes, please. Have a good one, all. Cheers.
Bye.
Hey guys, it's Jared again. Yeah, I know you're sick of me already. Relax. Just want to give you guys a little bit of advice. We didn't get to the email for those of you that saw the inbox email from Rugby Mag team. They've kept the England fixture in game week 3, even though it's in between two fixtures that are in game week 4. So the England-Argentina game is part of game week 3, even though it starts after game week 4 starts. So best advice for that is England are probably going full noise. Maybe you have already found out the lineup by the time you listen to this. I would, if you have an inkling about an England player, start him. Okay, don't hesitate. Don't let the window shut on you before it's too late, because they're closing the window or the lineup's locking at the end of the South Africa-Italy game, I believe. So don't hesitate. If you have an inkling to play an England player and they're in the lineup, do it. There's a few players that you can probably start over the England guys, but I would definitely put a lot of the England guys ahead of many of the names that you'll be considering, especially considering that there's a few teams that have changed squads. So that's my advice. I'm sure Ben would agree. If not, I'm sure he'll chime in on Twitter. So follow us on Twitter at fantasyrugbypodcast@gmail.com if you want to get a question in for the next pod. Thanks a lot.